funny thing? The boxing people don't know more. The only thing they know is how much the guy runs and trains. But when they come in 2 minutes in the ring, anything can happen. I don't care what, anything can happen.
Urgency, or he's overrated. And I'm not saying he's that. I'm just saying that it didn't matter enough to go and do what he had to do.
Was actually countering Canelo Alvarez quite a bit. So as Canelo would throw, he would just sit there, wait, block, and then boom, an uppercut or a right hand. Another mistake that Canelo was making too is he was throwing like one shot and then he was coming back squared.
Mike Tyson didn't hold back after Canelo Alvarez's crushing loss to Terrence Crawford, calling him overrated. Tyson said Canelo looked ordinary once he shared the ring with Crawford, who controlled the fight with skill and precision. According to Tyson, the bout showed Canelo was never as dominant as many believed. While Crawford's performance proved he belongs among the sport's all-time greats, Tyson emphasized that the defeat exposed Canelo's weaknesses and confirmed that the hype around him had always been inflated.
You gonna catch him? I'm just telling you, but when those guys started beating Chavez was already an old man, though. I gotta get from then, you gotta get him there. You know, he had close on. He got him beaten in like 90-0 before he got beat. Oh, you gotta look at those scenarios too, man.
Renowned trainer Teddy Atlas has long been a critical voice in the boxing world, and when it comes to Canelo Alvarez, he has not held back. Atlas argues that Canelo's reputation has been inflated by promoters, fans, and media who have crowned him the king of boxing without looking closely at the substance of his career. He points out that while Canelo has had big victories, his opponents were often carefully chosen, making his resume appear stronger than it actually is. According to Atlas, the image of Canelo as an unbeatable force is more myth than reality, a product of marketing rather than pure skill. At the heart of his critique lies the idea that Alvarez has benefited from timing and perception far more than consistent dominance inside the ring.
Quite as up in arms. We actually sometimes said he fought a smart fight. But when he didn't fight the kind of fight to make it an entertaining fight against our guy, against the popular Canelo, again, the king, so to speak, then we completely attacked the guy. So I think that that's got to be looked at a little bit, to be fair.
Mike Tyson predicted, even before the fight, that Terrence Crawford would outbox Canelo Alvarez. He expressed full confidence in Crawford's skills and said Bud could beat anybody. Tyson's belief highlighted that he never viewed Canelo as unbeatable, instead recognizing Crawford's adaptability and dominance as the decisive advantage.
Fight. Great fight. Right? 50-50. I want to say Crawford. Why am I saying 50-50?
You don't think it's 50-50?
60-40, but you gonna tell him which one?
You think Crawford can stop him?
Crawford can stop anybody. I'm not saying he can't, he's going to, but he can't.
Beyond Teddy Atlas, other analysts have expanded on why Canelo is often considered overrated. Some highlight the shadow of performance-enhancing drug accusations that briefly clouded his career, yet he managed to walk away with minimal damage to his reputation. More importantly, critics focus on his career choices after his lopsided loss to Floyd Mayweather. Following that defeat, Alvarez became more selective with opponents, often facing fighters past their prime or those stylistically favorable to him. This strategy allowed him to collect belts and maintain his star power, but it left a lingering question about whether he truly tested himself against the best in their peak years. By carefully constructing his career path, Canelo preserved his image, yet, in the eyes of skeptics, this showed he avoided the kind of challenges that would define a truly great champion.
Alright, this guy right here is overrated as fuck, and I'm gonna tell you why. Now, early on in his career, when he was the young up-and-coming contender, undefeated at the time, we all remember that infamous match with Floyd Mayweather where he just got dog-walked. Floyd Mayweather completely outboxed him, completely outclassed him. That fight ended up being a split decision, which is crazy because if you've seen the fight with your own two eyes, I don't think Canelo landed one clean punch on Mayweather the entire fight, and it wasn't even close. Also, early on in his career, he was accused and caught cheating performance enhancers. And you know what they say, once a dirty fighter, always a dirty fighter. Even though that's not factually the case because he was able to move on with his career, bounce back from that loss, bounce back from the cheating accusations, and make like a great boxing legacy for himself. In the court of public opinion, normally with most fighters that are, caught cheating at any point in this career, it always sticks with them. But with Canelo, it seems like everybody forgets. Now, obviously, to this day, he's still looked at as one of the faces, if not the face of boxing. But I think the way people accuse Floyd especially in the back half of his career of picking and choosing his fights, protecting his own, protecting his legacy. Canelo definitely has followed the Floyd Mayweather model. Not only in his game, he became a more defensive fighter after fighting Mayweather, and especially as of late, he's not taking as much punishment, but it's also because he's not fighting very dangerous fighters, and when he does, he gets exposed. One of his also top more formidable opponents was Triple G, that trilogy. The first fight was a draw. The second two fights, Canelo won by unanimous decision and an ununanimous decision for the third. But I don't think the results, reflected the fights.
When Canelo finally stepped into the ring against Terrence Crawford, the weaknesses many critics had pointed out became glaringly clear. Crawford, a southpaw known for his adaptability, controlled the fight from the very beginning. He shut down Canelo's offense, preventing him from finding range or rhythm. Alvarez, who often relied on patient pressure and counterpunching, looked one-dimensional against Crawford's fluid movement. Analysts noted that Canelo threw single punches rather than setting up combinations, and he rarely used his jab, which made it even easier for Crawford to dictate the pace. The difference in skill sets was evident. Crawford neutralized everything Canelo tried and made him look hesitant throughout. For many observers, this fight was the clearest evidence yet that Canelo's reputation as an untouchable star had been overstated.
I think there was a lot that we could learn from both of them. I think there's something that Terrence Crawford did very well. He did not allow Canelo to get inside, man. Like as soon as Canelo would get into that certain range, he would jab him. And then occasionally he would go low. Canelo Alvarez could not pop his. He couldn't get inside because pretty much Bud, he's a southpaw, and I feel like Terrence Crawford. I mean, I feel like Canelo Alvarez had problems with southpaws, but not just that, dude. It was the range of what Terrence Crawford had, dude, and not just that, man. Terrence Crawford was actually countering Canelo Alvarez quite a bit. So as Canelo would throw, he would just sit there, wait, block, and then boom, an uppercut or a right hand. Another mistake that Canelo was making too is he was throwing like one shot, and then he was coming back squared, and that's when Terrence Crawford would actually catch him. We didn't see any like lateral moves where he would throw and maybe push off to the side, as we used to see Canelo Alvarez as what he would do in these fights. Allegiant Stadium, there was a lot of people there. Terrence Crawford had the ability to fight backwards and stay composed, good defense, hands was always up, countering everything that Canelo was throwing at him. He was just a little more active fight. I mean, looking at the fight, bro, like it was competitive. Canelo did hit him to the body, but it was pretty much all Terrence Crawford, man. I don't know how many rounds I actually gave Canelo, but I want to see a rematch. Because Canelo did mention, I didn't feel good. Like my body was it wasn't reacting. My mind wanted to, but there was something physically with my body that it just felt different. So, but overall, I mean, boxing tends to put these big events. These fights don't show out like the UFC.
Canelo's defeat to Crawford sent shockwaves through the boxing community and raised questions about his future. His demeanor in post-fight interviews hinted at uncertainty, with some speculating he might even be considering retirement. The way Crawford systematically dismantled him made it appear as though Canelo's time at the pinnacle of the sport had reached its end. Crawford's win was quickly described as historic, not only because of how dominant he looked, but also because of the symbolic passing of the torch. While Alvarez had long been the face of boxing, Crawford's performance established him as the new standard-bearer. The loss tarnished Canelo's aura of invincibility, while for Crawford, it cemented his legacy as one of the greatest fighters of his era. For fans, the narrative shifted almost overnight. Canelo was no longer the king, and questions about the twilight of his career became unavoidable.
Crawford was going to create history. I told you guys this before he fought Sean Porter. I said that Terrence Bud Crawford can beat first ballot Hall of Famer and superstar and legend Canelo Alvarez. I've been saying this for years, that Terrence Crawford can beat Canelo Alvarez. And tonight, he did just that. He did just that. Not only did he beat Canelo Alvarez tonight, but he arguably retired Canelo Alvarez, who after the fight, Canelo Alvarez stated that he's done everything that he needed to do in the sport of boxing. When asked do he want a rematch with Terrence Bud Crawford, Canelo Alvarez said, it's no need. He gave no indications of a rematch. And Canelo Alvarez stated that he's a Hall of Famer, he's a winner, just being there made him a winner, right? And he stated that he's done everything he needed to do in the sport of boxing. That's what he said. Canelo Alvarez got schooled once again. I told you guys, styles make fights. This style, this particular style of boxers and counterpunchers and movers has historically given Canelo Alvarez problems. And as I told you guys, right? Terrence Crawford can fight any which way he chooses to fight. He's just that much more versatile.
The victory was not just another win for Crawford, it was a defining moment in modern boxing history. By defeating Canelo, he captured all of the Mexican star's super middleweight titles, solidifying himself as the undisputed champion in yet another weight division. The accomplishment placed Crawford in rare company, as few fighters in history have managed to dominate across multiple divisions with such authority. At the same time, the financial aspect of the fight drew attention. Canelo walked away with a massive $150 million purse, while Crawford, despite his win, earned significantly less. Commentators like Simon Jordan pointed out the irony of the situation, noting how the sport still rewarded Canelo more heavily even in defeat.
Crawford making history when he came up against Canelo Alvarez and he won it on points in Las Vegas, and that means he takes all of his super middleweight belts, becoming the first fighter in the modern era to become undisputed champion in 3 weight classes. The man to my left was in Spain. Mr. Jordan got out his bed at 5 in the morning and watched it, and he no doubt saw Crawford speaking post-fight.
The great things come to those who wait. You know, the cream always rise to the top. All the time that they blocked me out, they said I wasn't fighting nobody, I can't beat this dude, I can't beat that dude. Every time that I got a chance, I wiped the floor with him. So just imagine where I would have been at today if I had got them opportunities a long time ago. But then again, it wasn't my time. My time is now, and I'm happy that everything played out the way it did. And you're looking at the undisputed champion of the world right now.
That is for sure. Is he the modern day GOAT now, Simon?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think you can make the argument for Usyk too. I'm surprised he speaks like that because it's not normally the way he speaks, and the fact that he's got 3 undisputeds means that he must have been given certain opportunities. So I'm surprised he felt the need to say that, but perhaps there was reasons behind it. I mean, Alvarez thought they were going to get him cold because he hadn't fought for 13, 14 months, had some surgery and stuff like that. And the other side of the argument is they've got an Alvarez that's been fighting lesser than opposition. That is not what he once was before. He was there to be beaten by someone of the standard of Terrence Crawford, which they're very few and far between.
Respected trainer Abel Sanchez admitted he was stunned by Crawford's victory. Sanchez had expected Canelo's experience and power to play a bigger role, but instead he saw Crawford dismantle him from the opening round. According to Sanchez, Bud never allowed Canelo to establish rhythm, smothering his attacks with superior timing and footwork. For Sanchez, the outcome was a revelation. It wasn't just that Crawford won, but how decisively he did so. He even suggested that Crawford, having proven his greatness with this win, could consider retiring on top. That remark underscored the magnitude of the achievement. Beating Canelo was seen as the kind of career-defining victory that left nothing else to prove.
Had a great game plan. Bomac put something together that few people expected, including myself. The scores were just the opposite of what I thought they were going to be, but Terrence looked great.
What do you think was the turning point of the fight, or did you just think from the inception there was no way? Was there a point where you saw, hey man, this just doesn't look good?
From the beginning.
From the beginning.
From the beginning, and then Terrence never let Canelo get into a rhythm. Terrence never allowed Canelo to get anything going, and I didn't think he could do it for 12 rounds. I thought that the first 3 or 4 rounds were going to be difficult for Canelo for that reason, but Terrence was able to do it for 12 rounds, and in the later part of the fight, he kind of pushed the fight more than I think people expected, which is the mark of a superstar, man.
Abel, starting in the 8th round, we saw noticeable frustration and irritation from Canelo Alvarez. And at one point, 11th and 12th, he looked like he almost walked away, like he almost decided this is too much.
You know, you remember the Hagler,
Duran.
The Duran.
I was thinking that.
fight?
I was thinking that. I didn't want to disrespect Champ by asking him that post-fight, but those were the images that came to my mind. I was going to ask him if he understood more of Duran's plight that night.
Yeah, you can kind of. Duran had a reason supposedly because he had stomach problems or something like that. But
right, he said he ate 2 steaks and drank a pot of coffee in New Orleans.
Sometimes frustration causes you to say things that maybe were not true. You know, Terrence just fought a great fight, man. Virtuoso fight, the kind of fight that we're not going to see for a while, and there's nobody out there that can give Terrence that kind of test again. And when you have a great fighter that has put up another great fighter, and it happens like this, is you just have to bow your head and, you know, that's the king right now.